was thinking that today we could talk a bit more about some of the things that you've been staying away from or avoiding because they remind you of your accident or because they've just become harder since the accident. I'm thinking about things like getting in the car at night, sleeping in your own bed, being away from your parents, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
We've talked before about how it's very common if someone has an accident like you did or has been through another frightening thing. It's very common to want to stay away from things that remind you of what's happened to you.
Yeah.
Because reminders can bring back some of those scared or upset feelings. Even if we're doing something that's actually pretty safe, it's almost like our minds or our bodies tricking us into thinking we're back in the past when there was something to be scared of. Now, Olivia, staying away from things that we're afraid of can help us to feel a little bit better to begin with, but I don't think it's really gotten rid of your fears though, has it?
Definitely not.
And Olivia, I'm thinking that perhaps staying away from some of these situations also has some other downsides. Firstly, it's going to be hard to stay away from these things forever. I'm also thinking about the things that you're missing out on. Nighttime activities, sleepovers and things. I think I've heard you say sometimes you're a bit sad to be missing out on those kinds of things.
Sometimes.
Olivia, I wonder if we could think together about how we could get you back to doing some of these things that you've stopped doing, facing some of these fears, if you like.
We can do that.
Let's think about a different kind of example to help you to understand what I've got in mind. So, Olivia, how do you feel about dogs?
I love dogs.
Yeah, well, let's think about this one then. Olivia, can I ask you to imagine there was a young boy sitting there. He used to love dogs, like you do. But one day he'd been at the park and he got bitten by a big dog. What do you think might happen for him?
Get a fear of dogs?
Mm-hmm. And what do you think he would do?
Stay away from that park, I suppose.
I think so. And what else?
Try and stay away from dogs.
And how would he do that?
Well, it's kind of hard, I think. Dogs are everywhere, so we'd have to look out for them.
Mm-hmm. So he might stay away from all sorts of places just in case there was a dog there, or keep on the lookout for dogs. Sounds pretty exhausting. Olivia, if you were in my chair here, how might you help this boy to get over his fear of dogs so that he could get back to the park again and maybe could one day even enjoy being around dogs again?
I could tell him that dogs are pretty safe and that he was just a bit unlucky.
You could tell him that. What if you tell him that, but he says he's still scared?
Maybe I'd need to show him.
Okay. Yeah, showing can sometimes be helpful, I think. How could you do that?
Maybe show him like a small dog or a puppy. Oh, I know. Show him some cute dogs on YouTube.
Ah, I love your ideas. So we could look at some dogs on YouTube or bring a small dog into this room. What do you think might happen if we brought a small dog into the room?
He'd feel scared.
He might feel scared. What do you think would happen after a bit of time?
He'd get used to it.
You think he'd get used to it? I think you're right, Olivia. And what would happen to his feelings as he got used to it?
The fear would go down.
That's what usually happens when people stay for a while in a situation that they've been scared of. You might have even noticed yourself when you've been doing other things, Olivia. Kids sometimes talk to me about having those scared feelings shrinking with time when they're learning to ride a bike or learning to swim or something like that. Now, back to this boy and dogs. What would we do after the YouTube watching and the small dog in the room?
Maybe go get him to see bigger dogs. Go to like a dog park or bring one in here.
I see. So you'd be kind of helping him to step his way up to getting used to bigger dogs. And apart from learning that his fear would go down, what do you think this boy would learn if he kept doing these steps that you've planned for him?
That dogs can be friendly.
He might learn that dogs are mostly friendly. I bet he might feel pretty good about how courageous he is too. Now, Olivia, I think we could actually do something similar with facing your fears and reminders. A bit like what you've described here for this boy. Slowly taking some small steps that will help you, a bit like climbing up a ladder. I'd be right here to support you. And we get your parents to help out too.